Jeff Bowman and his wife Judy here. They're gonna have dinner with us after this, so hopefully they can enjoy our club. So, Mid-Century Spa-Tels, so I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Thank you very much, Eric. And it's Judy and I's honor to be here and to share with you some of the things we have learned about the spas of Desert Hot Springs. It was 2003 that we moved to Desert Hot Springs. We bought the Kismet Lodge building on Mountain View Road. That's a picture of what it used to be way back in the day. And we acquired it. It was truly a mid-century modern hotel. We ran it from 03 to 19 when we decided it was time to retire. And I wish I could say it was because I knew something bad was coming, but not in any way. And right now it's run as a drug and alcohol rehab. So, we have been in town since 03. We're totally committed to Desert Hot Springs. Have been from the very, very beginning. Quick little story. We bought this hotel and it was right next to, there was an empty lot, and past that empty lot was a little 3-bedroom house, beautiful little house. However, there was a German Shepherd tied to the front tree, and a German Shepherd tied to the rear tree. And they were doing what all German Shepherds or any dog would do, sleep all day and bark all night. And I'm opening this spa, and we are wanting our guests to have a wonderful experience, and it was horrible for certain rooms that got the noise of the dogs. I went to the then vice mayor of the town, Mary Stevens was who it was back then, and I said, Mary, who's in charge of barking dogs? And she said, well, that's the Public Safety Commission. And I said, well, how can I get on that commission? And she said, I'll appoint you. And I served on the Public Safety Commission for 11 years. And don't you know, we made a noise ordinance that dealt with things like that. So we're talking about the mid-century modern Spa-Tels. And I want to give a little definition of how they look. I'm sure you already know, you've seen pictures, whatnot. Open, airy layouts, lobbies and rooms that flow easy, clean, functional design. Furniture and layouts are just simple, purposeful, kind of minimalist. They're natural and they have modern materials, wood, stone, glass, combined with steel or other molded elements. They have indoor living with pools, patios, courtyards, and the classic was the overhanging eaves of the building. Our little living waters at the Kismet Lodge building, we didn't even have umbrellas because people could duck underneath the eaves. And the subtle but bold style, kind of minimalist, and a quick anecdote from us, we acquired the building 30 days, or we sold our home in Orange County 30 days before we acquired the Kismet building. We had to go somewhere, and we were then able to get onto the property and live there for 30 days. It was run as apartments at that time. Lived there 30 days, and our hearts and minds and eyes were changed living there. We had not been around mid-century modern architecture. We were thinking Orange County and Disney, and we were thinking of Disneyfying the place, but as it turns out, the building spoke to us. And we go, wait a minute, hold the phone. We can't do that. Now, I'm going to give us a little history of what was here before the spas. Most of you might know this, so it'll be a review. A whole lot of nothing. That is a picture of the old Two Bunch Palms area. And then, of course, there was the Cabot's Eagle's Nest over on Miracle Hill. By the way, I'm honored to be the board president of Cabot's Museum. Served on the Historical Society for 7 years. My wife is currently part of the Historical Society, so we're very involved. And I just love the town. So the discovery of water, just to summarize, water in the desert equals life in the desert. It was all because of the homesteaders. The first homesteader that we know of was a woman named Hilda Gray in 1909 near Dubunch Palms. Cabot came in 1913, and every day he walked, or not every day, but about every 3 or 4 days, he walked to Garnet, which is I-10 in Indian, roughly, to get water. Now, the Homestead Act is what allowed this all to happen. It was signed into law by President Lincoln, May 20 of 1862, and it encouraged this western migration of people from the east. It provided folks 160 acres of public land. In exchange, the homesteaders paid a small fee. They were required to complete 5 years of residence before receiving ownership of the land. So it was actually a really good deal. Now, it worked in places where there was rain, soil, and seasons. But here in the desert, no, not so much. And the homesteaders here in the desert arrived to a landscape, as you could see all those in the prior pictures, with little rainfall, extreme temperatures, and no reliable surface water. That's why Cabot had to walk to get water just to live. Many of the claims in that area, our area, it's nice to say our area because you're part of it, which were practical elsewhere, proved to be mismatched to the desert's scale and scarcity, and actually it became a point for the establishment of our town. Hang on to that. Coffey has a good quote here. The ranger, the prospector, and the homesteader who roamed over this desert area ever since the founding of the West never for a moment realized that this wonder water was just beneath their feet. So, here's Cabot's eagle's nest. In 1914 and 15, he dug for water. The Indians that were traveling through the area pretty much said, hey, we had some hand-dug wells here. You should dig and look at it, find it. And he did. And he hit both the hot and cold water aquifer. He named the location Miracle Hill because it was a miracle. Over here is hot and over here is cold. Didn't quite understand why. And the why is because of an earthquake fault. As you probably know, the San Andreas splits into 3 faults down at the Salton Sea. The line that separates the hot water and the cold water, that is the Mission Creek Fault. And that, if you're north of that, you have in that brownish colored area hot water underneath you. If you're south of that, you have the wonderful pure miracle Mission Springs water that comes. We've won awards with our potable drinking water. Now, in 1918, Cabot enlisted in the Army. He left the Army in 1919. He settled in Frutilla, California, where he opened a grocery store and was a postmaster until 24. In 25, he went to Europe to study and traveled around. And if you come to Cabot's museum, you can see some of his art. In his return to the States, he settled in Moore Park, California to operate a grocery store. So, hang with me now. He comes out here, gets a homestead, does the 5-year stint, gets the privilege of now owning that land, but it's the desert. And so he's not hanging around much. He's gone, and he's now working a grocery store in 37. So the point is simply, the city of Desert Hot Springs was founded because of the water. Now, who is this guy Coffey? In 1914, we see this ad. L.W. Coffey at the time was 38 years old. And I like the ad. Do you want a home on Balboa Island? Would you like to have a home there on Balboa Island right now? Lots, $500, up and easy turns. And if you go to the bottom of that picture, you see LW Coffee Manager. So he was an entrepreneur, real estate developer, and he had this passion to find the deals or the things that are unique. And of course, Balboa Island today is absolutely fantastic. So now we come to the founding of our desert hot springs. As Coffee said, when you got water, you can build a city. So in 32, Coffee comes out here, he's 56 years old. And hang with me on the years that I will show up about Coffee here. We often think retirement. This guy, there was no such word for him on that. So he meets Cabot Yerkson, who had left the desert, like I said earlier, was in the grocery store in Moorpark, and this was 18 years from the start of Cabot's homesteading. So Cabot, he got the land, he has the deed, he has 160 acres, now he's no longer living here. Coffee now learns of this hot mineral water in the area, decides that the area that Cabot had homesteaded would be an ideal place for a town focused on health. So Cabot introduces Coffee to a fellow named W.G. Anderson, who also had 160 acres. Coffee finds Anderson on November 25th of 32, and for the next 3 or 4 weeks, Anderson becomes helpful envisioning with Coffee over the future of this part of the desert. Now, mind you, they didn't have air-conditioned cars, because it was November. They didn't have any heat. It was really entrepreneur dreamers in many ways. So Coffee returns to LA, and he sets up a trust whose beneficiaries are the homesteaders in the area that would be Desert Hot Springs. Why? The trust was the way that the homesteaders could make money on this investment, because of the reality the desert was really impossible to homestead. You're not going to farm it because there was no foreseen water. You're not going to raise cattle or animals because it's the desert. And so this was a way for Cabot, Anderson, and the other homesteaders to actually do something with their investment and their time that they spent. In 33, Coffee drills for water. He leased a small drilling rig and hired Earl Howard. Drilling proceeded from early May to late June, and the water in the well had a temperature of 140 degrees. Now this is a miracle, because it's under the ground, and that quote I gave you earlier, people weren't realizing that where they were walking is this fantastic water right underneath their feet. Coffee sold 14 1-acre lots. Okay, now here we go. We're going to develop this water, and Coffee is the start of it all. In 33, he's 57, he built his original bathhouse. Now, don't confuse this with his first spa. It was just a simple room with a tub, but he was doing a proof of concept, and I get this from his pamphlet, Why DHS? We then installed an electric light plant operated with an old Studebaker engine, which supplied lights for the bathhouse and the adobe. This plant furnished us with about 12 lights, which was hardly enough. Javi adds a butane gas range and begins serving meals, and he applies for a beer and wine license, which according to him was not hard to get at that time. And the weekend crowds often sleep in their cars because there's no rooms. Finally, at age 65, he lays a foundation for his first spa. He opened for business in 41, and reminding us now that World War II is from 39 to 45, and Pearl Harbor is December of 41. So not exactly prime time to open a business. But he had the guts, he had the commitment, and the grit to make it happen. Then, in 47, a fire destroys the first Coffees, and he's now 71 years old. but he's not quit. At 48, he built it bigger and better at age 72, and finally in 1991 it was torn down 34 years after his death. And I have discovered that the coffee that you'll see pictures of here, the final spa was built not out of wood, but out of concrete, and it was hard and heck to tear it down. Here is his first spa, circa 1941. This is on the corner of 8th and Palm, and there's nothing there now. 8th and Palm. Beautiful building, all wood structure. And now here's the rebuilt one that has now concrete and just phenomenal. Look at those cool cars. It was the place to come if you had rheumatoid arthritis, if you had other maladies that hot water could help. Some really cool shots. I like that one with Mount San Jacinto in the background with snow on it. And now here's looking southward, and look at all the people that are there. There's nothing there. I mean, come on now. You're talking about grit to make this happen. So now here's Coffee doing the thing that he does best, sell real estate. Notice that little thing, limited number of motel lots with paved streets, water for as low as $29.50 per month. The Realty Company of America is nothing or none other than Coffee's business. So from post-World War II until the 70s, Desert Hot Springs experienced a dramatic period of growth, especially in spas and hotel properties. Coffee started marketing the spa properties complete with hot water wells. There were, at one time, hang with me, and this is legit, I have verified, my wife and I verified this, over 120 lodging facilities built in Desert Hot Springs at that time. And the city was incorporated in '63. You say, who are these spas that were built at that time? There they are. Many of them shared the same name, but we took that into account. There's still over 120 separate spots. If you drive through Desert Hot Springs and you see a little tiny motel, or nowadays apartments, more than likely it was part of the spa growth in town. When Coffee's had his spa going, there was no lodging there. It was not a hotel. It was just a place to soak in the water. So little hotels and apartments were built. Now here comes the mid-century modern, and the spa's maturing. During this time, many things happens. The over 120 lodging facilities started to decline. The spas that continued struggled. Most were turned into small apartments, as I just said. Even the original Coffee Spa, as I said earlier, was torn down in '91. The current culture of health and wellness emphasis did not exist. And the city developed around the hotels. Now, our little hotel on Mountain View Road, people would come up and they said, there's houses all around this place. I go, yep, but we were here first. And it's true, there's, some of our hotels are plopped right in the middle of homes. So now, from '97 to present, the spa's revived. Thanks to the internet and the growing awareness of health and wellness, a revival was possible for the mineral water spas. Yet it still takes the love and passion for the water, like that of Coffee, and a little bit of money too. So here we go. Each spa had its own character, personality, charm, and a hot water well with varying temps and slightly different constituents. Slightly. Here's the makeup of the hot water of Desert Hot Springs. Now, this will vary from hotel to hotel, but the bulk of it fits right in here. Something that they weren't testing for back in the early days was lithium. And lithium, we know, is a real good sedative for the nervous system. And I would have our living water spa, our well water was 105 degrees. We pumped 18 hours a day, 20 gallons a minute. It was amazing water. I'm actually 100 years old, and it's all the water, what can I say? But I would have people walk on the property and they'd say, oh, that's not mineral water. I don't smell it. I go, that's great you don't smell it, but it is mineral water. The sulfur is there in the form of a sulfate, not in a gaseous, a gas type form. And what also, there's lots of claims to fame on the water. I would say the two things that I have highlighted here are the big ones, the lithium and then the pH. Normal drinking water is about 7.8 pH, can vary up or down there, but our hot water is 8.3, which gives it an alkaline feel, a softness. Our body is also mostly acidic, and this helps regulate things. Other than that, I don't, we had people with eczema stay at our hotel for a week, soak in the water, and all of a sudden the eczema is shrinking and going away. So here are some of the mid-century Spa-Tels, kind of getting to the whole point, right? Here's some of the ones of Desert Hot Springs, both then and now. In town, we have these current spas, plus there's a handful of Korean spas that value the water. These are the ones that are part of our hotel group. Back in the day, here's Cactus Springs Lodge. Look at the picture, and in the background, you see it's populated. No, you don't. There's nothing there. And that's going to be true on this presentation as we look at it. This was an early postcard of that. And then here's the next postcard, Cactus Spring Lodge. Notice also behind it, not a whole lot of stuff happening. And then yet another postcard. And here it is now. Look at the architecture of that building. The big overhanging eaves. The amazing amount of layout of the plant material. And then the open windows that you see there. They have when you come in their doorway, you see this really cool fireplace in a little pit. And you're looking out through all that glass to their pool area. It's really a spectacular place. By the way, a couple of you guys mentioned the old hotel spa tour that we used to have here in town. We just had one in January, and some of you didn't know about that, so we have to do a much better job. But we participated as Living Water Spa. We never got to take the tour, even though we knew all the owners of the hotels at that time. So I was a docent on the media bus. I just had a blast talking about all these, and then seeing the amazing layouts of the hotels. You have this mid-century modern minimalist look at Hope Springs. They have a cool hot tub underneath in this gazebo. Nice sunset going on there. And then the front is on the left side. So mid-century modern architecture. Again, another angle of everything. Then you have the Moors, and these are both of these are over on the area, kind of in the heart of the spa zone, off of Hacienda. Look at how sparse everything is around it, and even there. Then it grew. They put in a gazebo on the left with a pool in the middle, and who knows what the Moors became? Anybody? Here's the Moors again. It became the Springs. And notice the layout of the big overhanging eaves. I'm going to back up just a little bit. You can see the bougainvillea, people hanging out, sitting there. And then here is the modern day of the spring. Absolutely spectacular. I think their well water is like 150 degrees, so they have to deal with it being very hot and cooling it down. Just a glorious, picturesque rooms, again, the minimalist style, and several pools. Just when we acquired the Kismet in '03, the woman who had the spring, Maria Lise, was just opening hers. So we were birthing ours, and she had just barely birthed the spring at that time. Just spectacular. Okay, another one back in the day was Miracle Manor. Actually, this was one of the first of the small hotels that became revived. And here it is now. Absolutely beautiful. They actually added, where you see that little awning in the left side, they added more space and a couple hot tubs there too. Again, it's fitting within the mid-century modern architectural concept of minimalist. Here's on the left, one of those spa hot tubs I was telling you about. When we came here, and it wasn't until the spa tour, I go, whoa, it blew me away, how beautiful this was. Then you have the old Mona Lisa. Notice, again, there's nothing hardly around it. It's over there by the other ones, and you can see in the background of that postcard a little bit of the city where homes were, but nothing right around this. Who knows what this one became?
Sagebrush? Sagebrush?
Sagewater.
Okay.
Star point.
Well.
You got it. So let's look at it. Here it is back in the day, and here it is now. Isn't that beautiful? Spectacular. The inside of it is, again, amazing. This was very parallel to the inside of our Living Waters, kind of simplistic, bare, but yet elegant and plain, if there could be such a thing, elegant and plain. Their water is also very hot, and their hot water flows into the spa pool, the little guy there, and then it overflows into the big pool. Just absolutely spectacular. Again, notice the overhanging eaves, the simplistic but crisp and clean lines. All right, now here's the big guy, the Desert Hot Springs Spa. When it came on the scene in the 60s, it gave Coffee's Spa, which was still operating, a real challenge. Coffee's did not have any overnight rooms. I just learned in more of my research, and I'm always learning, so please, if you have some data, I want to hear it and want to learn about it. I did not know until I did a little deeper dive in the Desert Hot Springs Spa that it first started off just as a spa, not a hotel. And then they built the hotel rooms later. That surprised me. Anyway, you can see, look at, there's nothing in the background. It's truly plopped right there, taking advantage of the water. Here's one of their a little bit more recent postcard. And then of course, here's what it is now. The mid-century modern architecture is all over this place. You can see the overhanging eaves of even the 2 stories. Just really a beautiful property. Now, Monte Carlo. This is on Hacienda. Anybody know what this became? Hang with me. It became the Beat Hotel. Then it became the Dog Spa. And now it's the Desert Hot Springs Inn. The Beat Hotel was when we first arrived to town. A real interesting fellow, Stephen Lowe, who was fascinated by the whole beat scene with, is it Burroughs? His whole writing, and he tragically, the owner of that, was passed away. And then a veterinarian bought it and turned it into a place not for dogs, but for humans to bring their dogs. But marketing was not too good in that, you know, people thought, well, that's right, I can leave my dog while I go on vacation. No. And she had her logo that had like a dog print, which I'll show you in just a second. It's now the Desert Hot Springs Inn. Here's the inside. Isn't that just beautiful? It is totally mid-century modern in every way, shape, or form. And if you look at the logo of that, you see the dog print. And the current owners who have this also own the Aqua Soleil on Palm Drive. And I think they just are opening up one called Tramview Inn, which has been closed all the time I've been here, and they just now opened it up. So they said, well, hey, we could just get rid of the word OG, and make it called the Desert Hot Springs Inn. I love it. Beautiful, again, minimalist architecture, simple colors, and just really beautiful property. All right, here's one, Sunset Inn. Who knows what that became? Did you know that we had a Sunset Inn? Look carefully at the building now. It then became the CJ Grand. This is over on Hacienda. And now what is it? Watch that, watch what's gonna happen now. Azure Palm. How many have been to Azure Palm? Raise your hand. Oh, good deal, good deal. All right, Maria Lease, who I mentioned, had opened up the Spring Hotel when we bought our Kismet Lodge building. She sold the Spring, but in her heart of hearts, she couldn't get away from being a hotel owner, and she had this great desire to take over what was been the CJ Grand. It sat empty for a long time. She bought it right at the start of COVID. Oh. Yeah, and yet she stuck it out. And it is now, in my opinion, one of our premier spas in town. And look at that. It is absolutely spectacular. They have a great restaurant and their water. Their big pool, I think I have a picture coming, is one of the largest hot water pools in Southern California, if not the largest. Her rooms are so amazingly appointed. Again, in a minimalist, mid-modern approach. Look at that. You're looking right out of San Jacinto from the room. I mean, that is just too cool. And she's developed her property past what was the original CJ Grand. And there's a whole, have you walked around that area with all the outdoor pools and stuff? I mean, good Lord, it's fantastic. I mean, just amazing. And there is her big pool. It's huge, and it's truly 100% mineral water. And boy, she has some plans to even expand further the property that she has. Lido Palms then, and Lido Palms is still Lido Palms today, but here's what it looks like now. Far nicer than even the original. Again, note the overhanging eaves, the minimalist lines, just truly mid-century modern. I love her outdoor sign, says, or their outdoor sign, Lido Palms, and just spectacular hotel. So those are some of the highlights of the mid-modern buildings. There are more around. I could have done my old Living Waters, but it's no longer a hotel. But here's some points that I think I want you to really ponder a bit. The spas equal revenue for the city. Tourists pay a 12% transient occupancy tax. For the fiscal year 24-25, the city took in 4.2 million of transient occupancy tax. And what's interesting, 2.8 came from the hotels, and 1.4 came from the STVRs or Airbnbs. And there's been a lot of problems with Airbnbs in every town and every area, but I can say this with confidence that if you care about your home and you do an Airbnb with it or somewhere else, if you want things to go well, Airbnb wants things to go well, our city, for example, wants things to go well, and it really is a boon. I have an Airbnb at my house. We bought a house in 2016 that the prior owner, I should have put some pictures in there. The prior owner was a stained glass artist. I have a room 24 by 24 with his art, and it's phenomenal. And we only have people in our Airbnb when we're home. So I keep an eye on it, not a problem. And all this goes straight to the city coffers. That's how important the spas are to our city. Then there's this, what we call the tourist impact. Most industry analysts put that impact at close to $1 for $1. In other words, you spend $2.49 a night, you're gonna spend maybe goods and services, another half of that, and another half of that for food. And it's pretty accurate. And a lot of our spas in Desert Hot Springs try to keep the guests here in DHS. If they even buy gasoline, that helps our city. And then there's more impact. In addition to what the tourists pay, each spa hotel has to hire employees. Each employee has expenses, pays taxes, and if they live in DHS, the city benefits. Hotel and spa guests cause the hotel to have more utility costs. There's a utility tax, which is boosted by the presence of tourists, and everybody wins. So keep in mind, tourists do not share the same view of Desert Hot Springs as the people of the Coachella Valley. You probably have run into that. You cross the wash, where are you from? Oh, I'm up in Desert Hot Springs. Our first spa tours that we did, one of the first ones, we had some people coming in from La Quinta and all that, and I had one person look me right in the eye and said, I always thought I'd get shot if I was up here. I said, well, I haven't gotten shot yet, and I don't think you will either. And what's really interesting, sort of like if you're traveling and you're gonna go to a suburb of Chicago, where my wife is from, you're gonna go to Barrington, but you don't tell your family you're gonna go to Barrington, you tell them you're going to Chicago. And when people come to Desert Hot Springs or La Quinta, more than likely they tell their family and friends they're going to Palm Springs. So, we've been in town, like I said, for 23 years now, fully committed. I was chatting earlier, I think, with your GM about Desert Hot Springs, and it's gotten better and better and better over time. And I can't imagine not being here personally. Our mineral water spas present the city in a positive way. I like to joke, there are no springs in Palm Springs. It's a singular spring at the Agua Caliente Sache Springs. It's beautiful, but their water is not from a huge aquifer. It's coming from a spring coming off of the mountain range there. And I think they're, I don't want to give you a number that I can't remember, that I'm not sure about. We are a funky little desert town that has not been all LAified like Palm Springs. And some of us like that. We like the, thank you, yeah. I like the quirkiness. I love these little spas that we looked at the pictures. They are phenomenal, and then the water, holy moly. Our hotels demonstrate that DHS is a great place to be. So, in conclusion, it was L.W. Coffey and his spa that created DHS and started the town's spa business. All, of course, he saw an opportunity. He's a builder, a developer, Balboa Island to Desert Hot Spring, what a contrast. The spas of DHS have sustained DHS over the decades, and that is not an exaggeration. Spa ownership is not for the faint of heart. I can tell you from personal experience, it's like a teenager that you're raising. And one day that everything's happy and the next day it's not so happy. Or whatever analogy you want to have. But all I know is on any given day at Living Waters, we did almost everything we ever learned to do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
From marketing, we're both massage therapists, to massage, to fixing. I can change out a toilet, a water flusher, nothing fun. While I'm doing massage, no. And we should not take our water nor its history for granted. I don't think you do, or you wouldn't have me here talking about our spas. One question, oh, look at the hands. I'll start over here.
Typically, how deep do you have to dig before you hit the water?
Okay, outstanding question for many reasons. The hot water aquifer is called the Desert Hot Springs Aquifer. It is shallow. When my well living at the Kismet building was dug in 1960, they hit water at 80 feet. Now they hit water at 70 feet. The table has come up. Now, why is this important and a good question? There are places in Desert Hot Springs and even here at Mission Lakes that work on septic tanks. And it is a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
That, you try to remediate cold or hot water from the nitrates from a septic tank, you're talking more money than you cannot conceive of. So it's a shallow environment, and some of them go down 200 or 300 or 400 feet, but that's it. But they're hitting water closer than that. Okay, I had a hand over here, and then I'll come to you.
Notably, two-bunch pumps is not included in this, and I'm curious just to hear your thoughts on that, how that developed, and the impact, and all the things, because that's kind of a horse of its own color, right?
Fully, and you know what, I wanted to focus on my given task of
Yeah.
mid-century modern, and
Sure.
it could fit the bill in many ways. It is phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, if you haven't been there, you should go.
Yeah.
It's pricey, but it's well worth the experience.
Correct.
I think you're going to Disneyland, you'll be fine with the price. And I have other presentations where I talk about two-bunch, but it is just an amazing. When we moved here, let's put it this way, in the time we've been here, I think they've gone through 4 owners.
Yeah.
The current owner is amazing, and they're putting money back into it.
Good. So it's upside, it's not, the only reason it's not included is because it doesn't fit the,
Yeah, and,
Okay.
yeah.
Great,
yeah.
'cause
And then
I-
we had a
it's
hand, and then I'll come to
phenomenal.
you. We had a hand over here? No, okay.
I was just wondering if you could talk about, I'm understanding that gangsters came here and had an influence, Bugsy Siegel and that whole thing, is that true? or-
Complete lore.
Is it?
Complete lore. Now, I might have it on this computer, but I won't bore you with it. I also, so, I am a history nut. I also, somebody asked me, what is your tattoo? And what do you guys see? Only look at the white space. It's a question mark. Only look at the white space. I question everything.
Yes.
And ampersand on this side, I ask for more. I honestly don't have any vested interest in my truth. If I have more data, I will change my opinion. I just need the data. So I went digging into whether Al Capone actually went to two-bunch pumps. The lore was, or is, that in one of the rooms, there is a bullet hole in a mirror, and AC scratched into the top of a dresser. So I did the research and I saw that as it was impossible, the timing didn't fit. So I'm thinking maybe somebody got upset and there was not enough AC in the room. And then did that. But I kept digging. And does anybody remember over on Palm Drive, there's a store called Glossy's?
Yes.
The owner of Glossy's had been around forever. And so, Delinda, I believe is her name. And I asked her, I said, Delinda, what do you know about the lore of Two Bunch Palms? She goes, in 1972, new owners of Two Bunch Palms came up with that idea. And when shortly after we came to town, there was a dude that actually claimed to be the illegitimate son of anyway, I can go on and on. No, and it's impossible, the timelines, he was in prison when allegedly he was supposed to be here, and when he got out of prison, he went right to Florida where he died. So, all right, next.
There's a hotel just south of 8th Street on Palm that's looks like it's being renovated.
Mhm.
Is that another big spa? Or
Okay, south of
it would be south of 8.
On the east
You're
side.
talking about
Desert Hot Springs.
I don't know
There's
what
one
it's
of those,
called,
yeah,
but it's
there's
right
a
next to the
couple.
Spring Church.
Hyundai.
Oh, the Hyundai, the old Hyundai, yeah. Yeah, what was the question now?
Does that have a hot spring in that?
Yeah, they have a hot water well there.
Okay, so they have big plans for that, or you
I
don't
hope
know?
they do. According to my friends in the city here, they absolutely have plans. But here's my observation. You can have all the plans in the world and all the dreams, but if your pockets aren't deep enough to do it,
Yeah,
I mean, we have a wonderful building over on Pearson. It used to be called the Pink Flamingo Spa.
Yeah.
It's been empty for the 23 years we've been here. And I told people of the city, buy it and I'll run it. And, it's a beautiful building. But the longer a building sits, so if you walk, you go by that thing, they're having to gut it down to the to the wall, and it's not good. Other questions? All right, and then I have, yes.
So I used to come to these spas in the mid-60s, and my parents came until I made my father stop driving, which was in the early 2000s. And they would go to a place forever and ever, and I can't think of the name of it, but I think it was a one-story, it had hot and cold, it had hot springs, and it had like a coffee shop on the premises. And
That almost sounds like coffees, but did they spend the night there or just to go there?
Yes.
And
And
a
I
coffee?
did one, this is
Okay.
our 3-day weekends when I was growing up.
Okay. I have done some research. There was a spa on the corner of Hacienda and Palm, where the Rite Aid building is now. And they were open for quite a while, and they had a restaurant. That might have been where they went. And my mind can't pull off the name of it, and one of these days I'll have to do a little write-up on it.
Yeah.
My parents were from Europe, and when they found out, when we came to California, they found out about the hot springs, that was it.
Yeah, yes,
On the corner of 6th and, what's the street over from Palm Drive? There was really a neat old hotel that was just falling apart, and they finally took it down. It had the big pool outside that was covered, and looked like they might have had some
Sahara?
miniature golf there.
well, there is the Sahara.
Sahara.
Yeah, it's a all vacant lot now.
Yeah, there was a block where the Sahara was, Stardust, the White House, and Las Primaveras, 4 hotels. And one person bought it up over time and let it just fall apart. And I'm gonna get a little political on this. I think our city needs to have a vacancy tax. There are people parking their money on a property. where now it sits for decades. When we bought the Kismet Lodge building, we had to get to work because the mortgage is due the next month. So I think the city is, I've heard, talking to some of my city council friends, they're trying to figure it out. I go, we gotta get these people to either do it or sell it to somebody else. Other question? Yes.
One more question.
Sure.
Mission Lakes Country Club, does it sit over a hot spring?
It does not. If we were to go back to that, you're south of the Desert Hot Springs Aquifer. Now, if you go up into your hills a little bit, you probably would find it there.
Okay, thank you.